course, one of India's leading financial and digital ecosystems. It is the founder of Paytm Insider. It is the Chief Product Officer at Paytm. Presenting to you, Shreyas Srinivasan.
Good afternoon. It's always hard to speak after lunch, so I hope all of you are up to talking products. It's been a great couple of days here. I'm just going to get mic'd up and then start. Awesome. So today I'm going to talk about something I have been doing for the last 15 years, something that's super close to my heart. Which has been building consumer products, building technology which is used by millions and millions of users, and building the teams and the businesses which make those products happen. So I want to start with a bit of history. How did I get here? So my first startup, believe it or not, was in 2006. How many of you were born after 2006? People are being very kind to me. I know a lot of you are very young. So my first startup was in 2006, where I built an online radio stations to promote independent musicians in India. It was very simple. I was a college student. I had friends in a band. They used to play great music, but nobody would play their music anywhere else. There was no radio for their music. There was no television for their music. So I said, hey, listen, I'll build an online radio station to promote their music. And I built Radio World. That led me to NL7, which was a music festival and an online brand to promote independent music, which I started in 2010. Which led me to Insider.in, which is one of India's largest marketplaces for events and experiences, which I started in 2014, sold the company to Paytm in 2018, and then COVID happened, and entertainment went to zero. So Vijay, who's the founder of Paytm, called me and said, hey, what are you doing? I said, nothing, there's no entertainment happening in India. So he said, why don't you come help me out on Paytm? And since 2020, I've had dual hats of being the CEO of Paytm Insider and the Chief Product Officer at Paytm. And updated news as of last month, I'm neither. I'm on a break now after 15 years of building startups. And this has been a great challenge to come here to meet with entrepreneurs as I discovered what to do next myself. So a lot of startups I meet here, they talk to me and say, I don't have not many users. What do I do? And I wanted to talk through my journey. When I started RadioWorld, I had 8 users. And I knew every one of those 8 users. It was my mom, my co-founder's mom, my girlfriend, my co-founder's girlfriend, my girlfriend's 2 friends, and his girlfriend's 2 friends. We knew everyone. In fact, when I took the radio station and asked for requests, I would answer the request back in like names. I'd say, hi Shiva, this is your request for you. Then when I started NH7 in 2010, that went to 20,000, right? That was a good number. I was happy, hey, 20,000 people use something I build every month. Insider went to 20 million. We had 20 million users every year from 170 different cities in India, where we used to ticket almost 40,000 events a month, 40,000 events a year, including IPL. If you've ever bought a CSK ticket, you've probably bought it on Insider. If you've ever bought any large A.R. Rahman or Arijit Singh concert, you've probably bought it on Insider. And then in 2020, when I started working with Paytm, this went to 100 million a month. And funnily enough, what it took to build a great product for 8 users didn't change to what it took to build a great product for 100 million. The first principles were the same. And my talk today is about that learning. My learning on what it takes to build great products. Hopefully some of those lessons you can apply them. Most of my lessons are about consumer products, but I think they sort of apply to all startups. So what makes a great product? Before we even say that, what is a product? Most startups, most entrepreneurs I ask you, they're convince their startup is technology. But that's not true. Your startup is a combination of multiple things. It's technology, it's design, it's brand, it's customer support, right? It's documentation, it's a lot of different things which come together to make a product. Among these things, there are a few things you know, right? Like a lot of technology founders know technology. So I call that a known, right? Something you know how to do well. You know if I have to scale this to 100,000 users, I need to add a Kafka queue, I need to be able to do a queue consumer, I need to process it this way, these are the number of EC2 instances I need. People know that, that's called a known. But what about the known unknowns? Which are the softer things which make a product succeed? Today I'm going to focus on those and my learning in that field. So there are 4 known unknowns, according to me, to build a great product. The 4 are idea, which in my opinion is the most important thing before you start a company. A lot of us take more time to figure out what car to buy than before we close what idea to start a startup in. We almost 4 people sitting together and say, wouldn't it be cool if I get popcorn delivered right in my house and people start a company? But in my opinion, this is the most important thing, and I've sort of put together a structure for you to evaluate what is a good idea, how do you evaluate a good idea. Second is growth. Growth is sort of lifeblood of a startup. If you don't grow every month, if you don't grow every year, you'll sort of lose faith. You'll get bored after a year, you'll get bored after 2 years. The same 8,000 users who use your site are still using your site. So startup founders need to learn growth to build successful products. Team, sort of like a misnomer, everyone knows you need a great team, but it's actually pretty difficult to build a great team. So I'll talk about some of my learnings there. And the last one is culture and brand. Lots of people think of culture as internal and brand as marketing. My learning has been culture and brand are the same. Culture is internally focused in a startup and brand is externally focused. But they both come from the same place. And I'll talk about some of my learnings building culture in our teams and brand. I'm going to try and close this in about 7 minutes, so I'll be a bit fast so that I can open up for questions. If you want me to talk a little bit about any slide particularly, please stop me, I'm happy to go in detail. Okay, I'll talk about the origin of the idea. I love ideas. In fact, if there is one thing I could do for the rest of my life is to just sit with people and discuss ideas. I was discussing deep tech, I was discussing phase 1 and phase 2 rockets returning back to Earth at lunch. After that, I was discussing what it takes to build fusion reactors in India. I could just discuss ideas all day. Ideas are the lifeblood of growth, right? They are the lifeblood which makes us move forward. But sometimes we don't understand where these ideas come from. What is the origin of this idea? Where does this come from? So I have broadly categorized ideas into 4 different buckets. The first one is expertise. Expertise-based ideas. How many of you know this logo? You guys know this logo? What's the logo? Lamborghini. You know the story of Lamborghini? So the founder of Lamborghini used to manufacture tractors. Okay, and he was very successful manufacturing tractors. Then because he was rich and famous, he bought a Ferrari. And then he found that the clutch in his Ferrari was not very good. So he went to Enzo Ferrari and he said, hey Enzo, I can help you build a better clutch. Enzo Ferrari being Enzo Ferrari said, what does a tractor manufacturer know about fast cars? That led to Lamborghini. Lamborghini didn't take his expertise of building tractors to make a fast tractor. He took his expertise of building tractors to make a fast car. That's where expertise ideas come from. You work on something, you understand something deeply, you used to apply that to something else to come up with an idea. And these usually are the most probabilistically successful ideas because you usually have done your work. Then next are ideas which come from observation. I'm guessing every one of you know the picture. This is standard, 2 friends sitting around saying, hey listen, wouldn't it be cool if I can rate my classmates? That resulted in Face Match, which resulted in Facebook. These sort of ideas are dime a dozen. All of us have it. All of us are sitting and figuring out, hey, that person is, hey, wouldn't it be cool to do this or wouldn't it be cool to do that? But these sort of ideas usually tend to be very large if they work, but they don't tend to work a lot. So only 1 in 1,000 observation-related ideas work. Because there's no mode, everyone has the same observation. Then there are arbitrage ideas. Again, India's been famous for arbitrage ideas for the last decade. Somebody launches something in some other part of the world, it's working in some other part of the world, you launch it in India before they launch it in India. So here speed is super important. Uber launched in the US, Ola launched in India before Uber could launch, Flipkart launched in India before Amazon could launch. These sort of ideas generally succeed because the market has already been established. And the last one is invention-based ideas. These are the ideas which are supremely exciting. How many of you know what this is? No? That's ChatGPT making page rank for me. I told you, ChatGPT make an image for page rank for me, and this is the image it made. Page rank invented by Google search engine Larry Page, resulted in Google. Okay, so these are the 4 buckets of ideas. Every time you're having a new idea, think about these 4 buckets, maybe there are more buckets, think about where they fit, and think about what are the advantages and disadvantages being in that bucket. Okay, so now that we have gone through bucketing of these ideas, here are 4 fundamental guidelines I have discovered work well when you pick an idea. The first one is, it takes the same amount of effort to build a $10 billion company and a $10 million company. Because if they don't succeed, most startups don't succeed, the net value of both of those companies is 0. But if one of them succeeds, one of them is worth $10 million and the other is worth $10 million. So when you pick an idea, pick the largest possible idea you can pick. I cannot tell you how important this is. The larger the idea, the more fun you will have building it, and the more likely that if it succeeds, you will have the best experience of your life. The second one is build for 2027, which is exactly like 3 years from now, 2028. So I meet a lot of startups and they're building something which they see an opportunity today. They're saying, I use this product and this product doesn't do this feature for me. I'm going to build a new product which solves that. So the problem is by the time you build it, they mostly would have launched it and by the time you copy everything they do already, you're behind them in 3 years. So one of the important things when you think about ideas is to really think about the future. What is 3 years from now likely to be? Can I imagine the world 3 years from now? And can I build something which I can launch 3 years from now, which is a rage then? I'm sure every one of you read every overnight success has been in the work for a decade. Right? This is exactly why it happens, because people have been working on it for the longest time before it becomes a rage. After something is a rage, you cannot start working on it. It's just too late. The third one is build quietly. It really helps in early times of building a new idea to not have too much competition, to not have too much distraction of 10 other people trying to build the same thing and you're competing with them. The fourth one is interesting. How many of you have heard everyone tell you talk to your customers? Okay? I'm telling you don't talk to your customers. And I'm telling you why you shouldn't talk to your customers. It's not the problem is not talking to customers. The problem is what you talk to customers. Henry Ford has this very famous line that if I ask customers what they want, they would have said, I want a faster horse carriage. Just here's a simple thumb rule I used to tell every product manager who used to work for me. Customers own the problem, you own the solution. So never ask the customer if they like your solution. Only talk to the customer about the problem. Right? And take the problem and build a solution. If they don't like it, you build the solution wrong. Or you understood the problem wrong. Right? But if you go to a customer and ask him, what do you think about this solution? Trust me, you'll get very confused. Because every customer will have a different opinion. Next is growth. Growth is all about making sure every month you feel better than the last one. Because if your numbers are up, every month you feel better than the last one, your team's momentum, your team's energy continues to go up. 2 or 3 or 4 things I really want to sort of talk about this. One is momentum is greater than absolute. Don't just, if you have $4 million in funding, don't get to 1 million users very quickly and then you don't have any money to grow. Right? Structure it in such a way that you have the momentum to grow month on month, quarter on quarter. Rituals matter. A lot of times when you build teams, especially cross-functional teams, product, design, growth, customer support, a ritual which unites all of them and looking at your number holistically, those rituals really help you grow. Abundance breeds incompetence. We've seen this in the last 10 years in India, especially in the sector I work in. Having a lot of money doesn't really help. In fact, having a lot of money hurts. So if you have a lot of abundance, keep the money in the bank, don't let it affect your teams. Because otherwise we will just use that money to get to the wrong users or to grow in the wrong way. And the fourth one is design for compounding. And I just want to give an example. So most of you know our biggest competitor at Insider was BookMyShow. And BookMyShow was the best company to do international entertainment. They used to do Justin Bieber, etc., etc. And we very quickly figured we can't compete with BookMyShow on international events. They just had too much money, they had too many relationships, etc. But we wanted to be in a category which we thought compounds faster. We didn't think international events compound that fast. Why? There's only one Justin Bieber. Right? At best, Justin Bieber can come to India once a year. Justin Bieber can do 3 shows a year. So is Coldplay and so on and so forth. So we built a category of events we called mall replacements. Okay? Most people in India, when they think of entertainment, they go to mall. Why do they go to mall? They get food and they get shopping. But malls have the same food and same shopping for 365 days a year. So we built a whole sequence of events, we call them flea markets and food festivals, which are all about replicating a mall experience at 400 rupees a ticket with a clear aim that I should be able to do this 4 times in every city and take it to 20 cities in India. We have absolute monopoly in that space. And that's worked really well because each one of these events gets 50,000 users every week. Right? So when you think about growth, always think about, is there a slice I can go? Is there an angle here I can attack which my main competitor isn't looking at? That's the only way to win. The principal job of a founder is to differentiate. If you cannot differentiate, if you can't tell someone why you are different from someone else, you're never going to succeed. The fourth one is team. Shortcuts. Obviously, everyone knows teams are important, etc., etc. But I have found out that early startups, it's better to hire someone who's a domain expert and not a specialist. So when I used to hire early teams and I used to hire, say, a React developer, I would hire a React developer who's 7 on 10 but used to love music and used to go to a lot of events over someone who's 10 on 10 on React. Those people not only stuck around for long, they also really aided collaboration within the company. When somebody went to the design, they had an opinion. Because they were the user themselves. Right? So early teams, please hire people who like your product, who like your space. Don't just hire someone who's functionally very good. Challenge the status quo. Every team in your company, please tell them this is not good enough, go do something better. Revenue teams used to come to me all the time. They never used to give me daily MISs. I never used to know daily cash balances, so I told them, listen, I want daily cash balances. They said, Tally doesn't allow me to do it. I'm like, that's not my problem, we'll figure it out. But they figured it out, just because somebody in the company does not accept the status quo. The third one is a bit controversial. I know firing is a big taboo these days. But the truth is, hiring is very hard. Because you get 5 hours to hire someone, you're going to work every day for the next few years. It's impossible to make the best qualified decision. The best hiring, the person who does the best hiring in the country, I think is slightly better than a coin toss. Barely better than a coin toss. Right? And it's the truth. It's what every person who's hired a lot of people will accept to themselves before going to sleep, but they'll never accept on a stage. So instead of focusing too much about building hiring efficiency, I think we need to learn how to fire with grace. And these are discussions I have with people when I hire, saying, hey, listen, in the 3 hours I will know you, you seem to be a good fit for this role, but if you're not, in 3 months I'll tell you, and it's not just a reflection on you, it's also a reflection on me. And I'll learn from you. And that's an important skill for teams and startups to learn. The last one is no entitlement. As your startup gets successful, some of your people will feel like they know better than everyone else. Always a death knell for great products. That's when products atrophy. So make sure that you reduce entitlement in your company as much as possible. The last slide, I'm 44 seconds left. Culture and brand. Your brand is not marketing. Never ever assume just because you have a great TV ad, you have a good brand. Your brand is the summation of every story you have ever said from the time you started the company. Internalize that, which means any year since you started the company, if you lied, if you treated a customer wrongly, that will be held against you for the rest of your life. Right? So it's super important for you to live your brand from the time you start till the time you run this business. Modify your culture once you get to 20, 25 people. Things like this, I used to do this session with the company every 2 weeks, then it became every month, then it became every 2 months. I started becoming very busy. I used to do every 6 months. Then I realized I can't keep saying this, I have to write it. So as soon as you get to 20, 25 people, start writing what makes your company different. All our companies are slightly different, mostly because all of us are slightly different. So start writing it and start codifying that culture. Grow an institutional backbone. Again, as companies become big, founders become all too big, so nobody disagrees with them. One of the missions I had at Insider was something we called always operate in good faith, right? And it was something I always repeated. I always repeated 2 things in every meeting. I say, somebody would complain to me, I say, such is life. Right? People will say, this is not growing, this is not happening, that is crashing. I'm like, such is life. The second one is always operate in good faith. And in a meeting, I was arguing about a point, and the youngest person in the meeting stood up and said, Shreyas, sorry, but that's not good faith to me. And I realized, that I would have missed it if he hadn't pointed it out to me, and growing that institutional background is very important. Cultivate evangelists. The best way to know you're doing good is if your ex-employees speak well of you. So I always measure from a third-party vendor how my ex-employees speak of me, and use that as a guidance of what work we do. So here are some lessons I've learned. That's about it. Thank you so much. Enjoy building. It's been the greatest blessing of my life, and I hope all of you have fun. Yeah, I'm happy to have questions if anyone has questions.
Keep it really brief and have a microphone handed over to the people.
Just dot on time.
Hi Shreyas, thank you for the visually rich and captivating presentation. Brownie points for that. My name is Radhika Mata. I work as a matchmaker and dating coach. And my question to you is, I know you have built products. I know you'll be the product person. How do you stick to being a product person and not become a project manager? Because it's very easy to get caught up in everyday things and just like ensuring your Jira tickets are getting resolved, your everybody's aligned and all of that. So what would your top hacks be to ensure you're sticking to product and not becoming just a project management person?
Yeah.
With no offense to project managers, but yeah.
So I think most roles which are responsible for delivery, right, in a modern context are sort of made up roles. Like I feel like product management is a bit of a made up role, right? Simply because I think at the end of the day, all that matters is the product. What do you deliver? Right? So I don't judge myself as a product manager. I judge myself as what am I delivering. And I'm happy to be a project manager for what I'm delivering. I'm happy, I've written code. Most of Insider's first version was written by me. So I'm happy to be an engineer to deliver what I need. I'm happy to be customer support for what I need to deliver. So in my opinion, all that matters is what you want to get done, and are you aiding to get that done? So that's my answer. So I wouldn't care. I'm happy. I'm a project manager a lot of times. I used to go print tickets. We used to do IPL events, and one day before IPL, I would sit and print 50,000 tickets. It's fine. Such is life. Anyone else?
We have time for one more quick question if there's any. Alright, thank you for that really engaging session, Shreyas, and to present him with a token of our appreciation, we have Tom Thomas on stage, our Chief Operating Officer. was delightful listening to how or what the process of building the product is. And he did give us a really effective roadmap.